If you're thinking about buying in Ocean City, New Jersey, there are 5 things you definitely need to know before you make a possibly wrong decision. Let's cover those for you right now. We are going to work our way backwards. So we're going to start with number 5, which is, what is the beach actually going to be like? When you're buying a home here in Ocean City, more often than not, it's because you and your family are going to spend time at the beach. Now, you may or may not know that not every beach is guarded. Most beaches, in fact, are not guarded. There are different guard schedules, there are different uses on each beach, so you need to be familiar with what the beach is on the house that you're looking at so that you know if you're going to need to actually walk an extra block or 2 or more to get to a guarded beach. Number 4 is a big one, and that is, what's the storage going to be like? Now, when you're coming down here to Ocean City, you don't want to have to lug everything with you each and every time. We're talking beach gear, bikes, and everything else you need to make the memories here that you want to make with your family. So a lot of properties have garages, but guess what? A lot more don't. Some have storage sheds that are dropped in the driveway. Some have closets that are underneath the carport. Some have no external storage at all. So when you're looking at properties, whether it's online or in person, make sure you're paying attention to the storage situation and be honest with yourself about how much storage you're really going to need to make this property the best possible choice for you and how you plan to use it. Now, number 3 is going to be parking. On an island as compact and developed as Ocean City is, parking is very hard to come by. Depending on the part of town you're in, you may have a hard time finding a spot during the entire week or more that you're here, period. Some properties have dedicated on-site parking. That can be in a garage, a parking pad, a carport, but some properties have no parking. Other properties might only have enough room for 1 car. So again, how you plan to use the property is most important. But along those lines, if you plan to rent out your property, that's going to be a big deal to tenants too, because tenants don't want to have to park 3 blocks away to unload their car and then do the same thing and carry all their stuff back when the time comes to check out. So parking is very, very important, and you don't want to overlook it. The number 2 thing you want to be aware of is what the flooding is going to be like. Now, I cover that in detail down in the linked video in the description, where I have a guide talking you through a special tool that Cape May County has created so that you can actually see an interactive map of what the flooding is going to be like at a given property based on the flood levels. Now, it may be overwhelming for you to use, so by all means, I'd be happy to help you with that. Just reach out and let me know, and we can take it from there. But flooding is going to vary depending on the part of the island where you are. And believe it or not, most of the flooding doesn't come from the ocean, it comes from the bay. So where and when you are going to have to move your cars on a routine basis or not is going to impact how much joy you get out of the property and how frustrating it can be if you have to do these things that you simply never expected. And as far as disclosures go, right, a lot of people that I talk to are surprised to hear that this whole flooding thing and how bad it floods, unless there was actual damage that was not repaired, there are no disclosure issues or no required disclosures when it comes to flooding. You're buying on a barrier island. Flooding is part of life here. And in the off season, when most of the flooding happens, it's simply a way of life that we locals have learned to deal with. But for you buying here, and you may or may not have ever seen it, if you've only come down here in the summer, you need to make yourself aware and get educated about what the flooding is going to look like in the areas that you're interested in. Last but not least, number 1 may seem very simplistic, but it's the biggest hurdle and biggest tripping point that I've seen people hit when they're considering buying down here. And this is it. How are you going to use the property? And how is that going to impact the type of property that you need? And by property type, I'm talking about a duplex, whether that's top-bottom, or a townhouse style side-to-side, single-family home, traditional condo complex, a condo-tel, anything you can imagine. There's a fit for you here on the island. But what you don't want to do is buy the wrong property the first time and have the cost of selling and buying a new one before you really would have needed to if you thought this through the first time. A mentor of mine stands by the fact that the success or results you have in your life are a direct correlation to the questions that you ask yourself and the quality of questions that you ask yourself. My job as a real estate agent is to ask the tough questions, and not only that, the right questions to make sure that my clients think through every possible detail so that they make the right decision the first time. On average, people in Ocean City tend to sell or move up to a different property about every 5 years. My goal and my mission, as much as I love working with all of my clients and everybody I've had the pleasure to help, is to never have to work with you again, because we found the right property. We've thought down the road to how you think you're going to need to use the property in the future for family growth, grandkids, all that stuff, so that you bought a property that's future-proofed. It's in the location that you love, that's going to last a long, long time. So that is it, and that is the 5 things you absolutely need to think through and know before you buy here. If you have any questions, you can drop them down in the comments, or better yet, if you're thinking about buying down here anytime soon, and that doesn't have to be the next week, that could be the next year or 2, reach out to me. My contact information is down below. I would love to pose these questions to you to help you with your thought process, because having grown up on the island and having moved back, the knowledge bank that I've accumulated is pretty crazy, and I can't fit it all in a video or in a blog. A lot of it has to be tailored to person conversations so that I can help you with your goals. Not mine, not anybody else's. They are your own. So that is it for today. If you found this helpful, do me a favor and hit the like button. And if you haven't already, I saw that most of my views and watch time comes from people who aren't subscribed to this channel. So do me a favor and hit subscribe down below. That not only helps my videos get out to a broader audience on YouTube, but you will be among the first to know when I bring out new videos each and every week. Thanks for hanging out with me as always, and I will see you on the next video.